Kyle Shanahan had a conference call yesterday. You heard it. He was asked if Juwan Jennings is coming back. He says, yes, he expects he is. He was asked if Christian McCaffrey's coming back. And he says, well, if things go well this week and they hope so. It was very conditional, hopeful. I wouldn't use the word optimistic. I would say questionable. But if and when he does come back, do you think his presence will be so emotionally uplifting, not to mention his ability on the field will carry the 49ers to the Super Bowl?
Okay, here's the thing. If he comes back, first of all, we don't know when he's coming back. There was a headline in the Chronicle this morning on Eric Branch's article. Eric, I love you. I'm not criticizing you. I know you didn't write the headline. Headline writers do. Said his return is imminent, comma, and then it had some conditions. I don't know if his comeback is imminent, meaning soon. Kyle never says that. He says he hopes so. Yeah. I hope for a lot. I hope to be 6 feet tall before I die. Hope is another thing. But let's say, Iggy, he comes back directly after the bye and he is Christian McCaffrey. The 49ers are a whole different team. They are. Yeah. He is that good. Their offense all of a sudden would supercharge. It would. Mm-hmm. And because of that, so would the defense, because, Iggy, it's one team. It would uplift the defense and it would keep the defense off the field longer. So if he is Christian McCaffrey, really Christian McCaffrey, all of a sudden they may even be an elite team. That's how much. But if he's not Christian McCaffrey, if he gets hurt or he's limited in time or can't do the things he used to do, they're the same they are right now. So it's completely conditional.
Right. If they get the offensive player of the year back and they can run every play through him and give him 20 carries and 8 targets a game, yeah, that's a whole season changer. But that does seem like a lot to ask or expect of a guy who hasn't been able to practice in a year.
Yes, and sometimes I read or I hear that he's coming back, and how do these people who write about it or talk about it know? McCaffrey doesn't know. They don't know. Shanahan doesn't know. There's a big question mark over his head. He might come and play 4 snaps a game. We don't know about him. I would be shocked if in his first game, and let's say it's against Tampa. First of all, I'd be surprised if he plays against Tampa. But if he were to play against Tampa, I'd be shocked if he plays a lot. I would assume Garendo or Mason, the poor guy, if his shoulder is better, would play a lot more than he would. I mean, wouldn't it be insane to play him a lot?
I think it would be insane. They've been so cautious. They've tried so hard not to rush the process because they almost did week 1. I mean, it didn't work out. They started his practice window. He had been off for a month. He practiced 4 times. He couldn't play. So now he had to go to Germany and take 2 months off. It seems like they can't be cautious enough. And if he has another setback, they might only have themselves to blame. So why all of a sudden throw him out there immediately if there's any question?
Well, that's how I feel. And looking at what Shanahan said, I think he feels the same way. Some of the questions, I read over the transcript, some of the questions, it was almost like begging him to say McCaffrey will be back right away. And he wouldn't go there. I respect him for not going there, Iggy. He didn't want to mislead people or raise expectations that he or the player can't meet. So I still think right now it's very ambiguous. But if he can come back whenever, if it's soon enough, and he's Christian McCaffrey, Iggy, they're a kick-ass team. They are.
Yeah. And, they've like had these runs the last 3 years where after the bye week, they're just so tough. And I think a lot of people are expecting that to happen this year and McCaffrey's return to coincide with that. But again, it seems like maybe a more realistic approach would be, they could win the division with 9 wins. Every team's 4-4 in the division right now, except for one team that's like 3-5, the Rams. Maybe take it slow with Christian McCaffrey and make sure that he's rested and healthy and fresh for the playoffs or for December and on. because if you use him a lot in October, November, and he gets hurt, I mean, it's like you didn't have him at all. So
Right.
Greenlaw isn't back yet either. There's a few players that could come back later. Maybe the idea is to just peak late.
And Iggy, his going to Germany was serious.
Mm.
It was like a last ditch hope. They could perform a procedure there that's not sanctioned in our country. What I understand from a doctor friend of mine, they infuse blood or something into the Achilles tendon because there's very little blood flow there. And they want to put more bloods to help healing. Look, I'm not a doctor, but it's something like that. And so they're hoping that this experimental procedure works, but it's not allowed even in this country. So it was a desperation move.
Absolutely a desperation move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
hope it works out for him.
and the question I have is, first game back on the road across the country in Tampa. It's aggressive. He could do it. I mean, it's not like it's on turf. There's grass over there. That's good. But do you need Christian McCaffrey to beat Tampa? Maybe.
Good point.
I
Maybe.
mean,
I mean,
maybe.
Iggy, I would say, again, I'm sure the Niners are favored because they're always favored. I would assume, Iggy, I assume they're going to beat Tampa. We can talk
Mhm.
about this next week. I assume they're going to beat Tampa, but I don't take it for granted. Not with this
Mm-mm.
team.
No, Tampa. Baker Mayfield's thrown 21 touchdown passes. I know he's lost a few of his receivers, but he still scored 26 points last week.
Yeah, he throws 2 picks a game. That's his issue.
That's
I
true.
assume they can beat Tampa, but I wouldn't bet on it.
All right. So we'll see what happens when Christian McCaffrey, when he actually does return. Will be Christian Watch next week.